In 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education determined that separate but equal placement for students in public schools was unconstitutional under the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. The civil rights movement was also gaining momentum, but the quest for equality didn't come easily.
We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday.
President John F. Kennedy was a proponent of both equal rights and equal education, including special education. The Civil Rights Act, started by President Kennedy, was signed into law by President Johnson in 1964. It prohibited discrimination in many areas, including voting, public accommodations, public facilities, federally assisted programs, employment, and public education. But change takes time. Just as there was a reluctance with equality in education and the workplace, there was a reluctance to include all kids in the educational process, including special education students. There were theories that some children could not be taught, and there were fears that their cost of education would be too high. The Education for All Handicapped Children, passed in 1975, guaranteed free and appropriate education for all children. It was the predecessor for IDEA, Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which passed in 1990. IDEA guarantees special education services for all students with special needs. All students are considered teachable and deserving of an education. IDEA has been reauthorized and amended several times since 1990. In 2004, it included Part B for ages 3 to 21 and Part C for birth to 2 years of age. It includes preparation for employment and independent living skills for students over 14. Each revision is an attempt to improve the educational experience for individuals with disabilities. Along with the progress that has been made in the evolution of education, there is still a major challenge in special education. And that challenge is called disproportional education. According to MSTAC, the Elementary and Middle Schools Technical Assistance Center, disproportionate education is defined as the over- or underrepresentation of a given population group, often defined by racial and ethnic backgrounds, but also defined by socioeconomic status, national origin, English proficiency, gender and sexual orientation in a specific population category. A child's race and ethnicity significantly influence the child's probability of being misidentified, misclassified, and inappropriately placed in special ed programs. In an equal educational environment, the percentage of students of a certain ethnic group in the general population should be equal to the percentage of that group in special ed. When that doesn't occur, we get overrepresentation or underrepresentation from that group. According to this graph from the 22nd Annual Report to Congress, the most blatant case of overrepresentation in special education is with black students, who constitute 14.8% of the general student population, but 20.2% of the special education population. What are the risks for African American students and other minorities placed in special education at a disproportionate rate? When students are misclassified and placed in special ed, they may be removed from the regular education setting. They are at risk of lower teacher expectations and a limited challenging educational experience. This can naturally be followed by limited post-secondary education, which also limits their career possibilities. We've made progress in the past 60 years since Brown versus Board of Education and 50 years since the Civil Rights Act. But not enough progress has been made. In order to reduce disproportionality in special education, we need to focus in several areas. First, each school district should attempt to identify its unique disproportionality. Is it race-related? A specific ethnic background? Is it in a certain area of special ed, like EBD or autism? It then should implement a comprehensive approach. In order to be effective, all educators involved require training in assessments that are culturally appropriate, with appropriate modifications for speech and language differences, and a collaboration between home and school. In our districts, we can work to identify and solve our specific issues, and use what we learn in the process as a guide for other districts in the state and country. Our country's diversity is its strength.